All right. Welcome to the first broadcast of the Lost Cryptids Conservatory. All right. My guest today is Steve Brooks. He's from Trails and Tales of Bigfoot. He also has a few other groups. So, what got you started in the subject of Bigfoot?
What got me started is probably I'd have to go back when I was 10 years old. I went to parents took me and my brother and sister to down south. Of course, this was in Texas. Uh, we went below living to what was called a Native Indian ceremony. Like I said, I was 10 years old. So we got out, and of course, my parents and I went another way, and of course, my brother and sister too. Uh, so anyway, I thought I would. They were starting a circle where they formed a circle and they danced inside the circle. So, so what I did, I got in the circle and was just waiting to see what transpired and watch the dances. Well, while I was waiting and watching, my eyes like to wander a little bit, uh, and so I and of course where we was 10 miles off the main highway, back in the middle of the big thicket, middle of nowhere, and so I was just going along with what's going on there at the ceremonies, and looked to my right, and of course there was a teepee by my right. Well, I looked over there, and there was a jet black hair. Some people like to call it fur, but they're not. It's not fur; it's hair. And it was just, of course, like most people describe them walking, they go heel to toe, and it makes them look like they're just floating across the top of the ground. Their heads don't bob
Right.
like
I've
ours
heard that.
do.
Yeah.
So anyway, I kept watching it, and finally it went back into the woods to where I couldn't notice it. And of course, about that time, a little Indian maiden came up and grabbed my hand and pulled me in the middle, and I had to dance. So anyway, well, after that, I got with one of the elders I met, and I asked him about it. I said, "Who? I mean, was that one of the part of the show, or a fellow native uh, dressed up in a costume or something, or whatever?" He said, "No." I said, "Harry Neighbors, he flies by, and that's probably one of the what we call juveniles, uh, just out running around, uh, misbehavior." So
Yeah. Wow. That's so. Do you think he was? He was obviously drawn to the ceremony. I'm sure. About how tall do you think he was? You know, how big?
he was between 6 and 7 foot. He wasn't, you know,
Not too massive or
probably around
anything,
6 foot.
just tall.
Uh, yeah, he was kind of muscular type. I mean, but right at the moment, he was at the smaller scale because he hadn't fully developed uh,
Right, right,
into an adult. Uh, but like I said, you could, I mean, you couldn't miss it because it was jet black, and and of course, the greenery at that time was green, and
right.
of course, there's pine trees and stuff like that down there. So anything that's really dark is going to show up against the greenery. Uh, so so with and after that, I kind of from then I had my next encounter. I never really. I saw something out of the unordinary.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody that's, and, I guess what some people, it's a person that's really, really hairy. And so,
Yeah, basically,
and,
especially when you're 10 years old.
yeah, so, and so, of course, back then, I don't know, well, I don't know if you probably may not remember, but we did, technology was very, very limited. I mean, back when I was growing up, transition from black and white TV, and and then about a
Oh
couple of
yeah.
years after that, it transitioned to color TV, and then of course, then and then the and then of course the junction, the first the first really saw was the Patterson Gimlin uh, patty when it first came out, and and it aired on the, I don't know, I guess Adventure Channel or something like that. I mean, we only had about, I think, 5 channels, and they broke in to to air it. And they did. Jacques Cousteau did his thing. So, and then of course, I never seen one until I turned 17. Uh, so anyway, I think we lost him, Mr. Blake. So I will go on. And I didn't really notice anything else as far as a Bigfoot related until I was 17. I was in between my junior year and senior year in high school, and like I mentioned, I had gotten a new rod and reel, and plus I worked, and I went on a Wednesday. I went out and left early that morning before dark to the area I wanted to go, which was just outside the city of Longview, Texas, off of 259, and you had to kind of give you a picture towards Kilgore and turn around in one of the turnarounds, and then come back and then drive out and parallel the the river and the highway, and then I just parked. Uh, so is I do like anybody else. I got out, stopped the truck, took another sip of my coffee, got out, grabbed my fishing gear, and and proceeded. I usually go fishing. Well, when I went down, when I left the truck, a little bit of a hill, and then it goes. Well, where the spot I normally fish, at first I thought it was just there getting ready to fish. But as the I was there when the transition from, I guess, from dark, and it was coming uh, uh bouncing with the day, just almost getting them. And once up above the horizon, you could on things better. And when I did, I noticed this thing was hairy. I mean, hair all over. It was reddish brown, and the hair was about around 3 inches in length all over. Was uh, if you seen the picture, it was kind of short, kind of cone, and it had no neck, uh, broad shoulders, your typical 4 foot wide. Uh, so and it was very muscular. Of course, it was squatted down like uh like the picture, and I posted in the group this morning. It had his arms on his knees and squatted down, and he was looking right at the river, and I was just behind him. Like one more step, I could have reached over and tapped him on the shoulder. That's how close I was. Now, I know some of y'all gonna say, "Hey, how you and stuff like." This was back in the day that cameras wasn't uh, elaborate like they are today, and of course we didn't have cell phones back then. Elaborate cell phones, which was big and bulky, so uh, therefore, uh, to have, I mean, it was a privilege to have a camera back then, because not everybody had cameras. Uh, so I'm not seeing any of the comments. Hopefully he'll get back on here. But if you do have a question, leave it in the comments, and I will get back to it either after the show or sometime in the morning. Um, hey, Blake is messaging me, so just give me. So anyway, get everything rebooted back up. So as soon as he gets up and going again, he'll be right back. Uh, so anyway, where I was there, I could have reached and tapped him on the shoulder. That's how close I was. So, um, but anyway, I kind of started feeling what we figured out is the infrasound, the what some people refer to as zap, and I started feeling some of the fat. Got was getting sick. Had a strong headache. Uh, Kind of got oriented a little bit. So instead of standing there, instead of doing, because I wasn't feeling good, I decided to thought it was best to pack up and go back to the truck and go home. And of course, I had to mow the yard anyway, so so that way, get everything done. But anyway, that's my close encounter. Uh, I never got that close again. Um, the time I saw that one until probably there was one there was one incident in Oklahoma that I was out fishing with a buddy of mine, and um and we was at ponds on this property, and there was wooded areas around the pond, and this was away from city life. It was out in the country. Uh, and so it was, um, as you can say, uh, uh, and I had glanced back towards the wooded area and kind of noticed a dark silhouette within the edge of part of the woods. Now I was probably 40 yards away from the wooded area, and of course this was probably 20 to 70 yards away from me, and like I said, there was nobody but me and my buddy, and like I said, that's fishing. So so is there anybody still out there? But anyway, I guess this is still recording. Uh, Thank you, Jenny. Uh, uh, I'm glad you're the one and only soul out here listening. Repeat myself. So that was another instance that was, you know, again, it was a fishing trip. Most of my experiences or encounters happened while I was fishing. And I mostly fished off the bank. Um, so, until I moved to Missouri and unfortunately had the disability, uh, I had uh, I hadn't seen, but this is instance that I saw now. Like I said, it was dark, too far away for me to say it was a dark color. Whether it was reddish brown, brown, black, I couldn't tell you. I wasn't close enough to distinguish a color on it.
Hey, hey.
So anyway, did you
Dang
listen to any
technology,
of
man.
it?
No, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. It shut my mic and computer cam off, and I couldn't get it back on. So I had to restart it, and uh, so so what did you get into? Did you get into the second story, or
I can hear, I can see the car clicked on something, so I can see the comment. So if we only got one person on here right now,
yeah, that's okay.
story and finished it. What
Okay, all right,
I said was I was close enough uh, to this thing. It had its back to me. Uh, it had reddish, had about 3 inch hair all over him. Up head part, it might be a little bit longer. Uh, and and so and he never turned around to like, and
right.
but like I told Jenny, whoever else is listening, I could have helped and tapped him on the shoulder. That's how close I was.
And he was just totally distracted on what he was doing in the water. It must have been what do you think? Getting some food or
So anyway, so I kind of kept told him I felt like what zapping was, but or the infrasound thing that we know more about today. Uh, I I was getting sick, and so instead of moving to a different spot and chunking my catfish bait out there and fishing, I decided, yeah, he was looking at the water. He never looked.
I think we got some
Well,
really bad
it's hard
delayed
to say.
audio.
I've had several people tell me that when he felt my presence, he dealt and 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 kind of act like I wasn't. he wasn't there. So physical,
Okay.
you can't miss it, anything that size. So like I said, he might have, I don't know, just been he might have been waiting for a fish to swim by and catch it.
Yeah. Can you hear me right now?
Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me right now?
What was the last thing that you heard?
I can hear everything from you, but when I'm talking to you, it's delayed by like 30 seconds or so.
Uh, Let me go to my head.
Yeah, I don't know. StreamYard's acting weird tonight. I know I was on Matthew's program yesterday and it
Yeah,
worked
I can
just
hear you.
fine.
Okay.
All right. Can you hear me right now? Well, just
How's this
um,
working? Is it
I
still delayed a little bit?
I can hear you just fine. You're not delayed on my end.
Okay. Um, the story I was telling after that one, of course, like I said, I just packed up and went home. I didn't. Uh, I thought it was the best idea since I wasn't feeling good. So that's what I did. Is packed up, went home, and of course, went home. Drank some more coffee, and went out and mowed the yard.
Now, do you
So
feel like he knew you were there, or
that was
did
that one.
you?
And I was telling one time when I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that's out there fishing where the country there was a large amount of property.
Yeah, we got really bad delay when I'm talking to you, but
I'm
just continue
sure
on your
he
story.
probably sensed that I was there. I mean, before I came up over the hill to come down. Okay, now he might have noticed me when I was just coming over the hill before I could focus in uh, on who. But when I actually got focused on him, he was facing the river and his back was turned to me. And and of course, him not having clothes on, you can see the backs. I mean, his backside, his butt cuts, and all that kind of stuff. But, but but the one time in Oklahoma is like I said, this was kind of a further distance. Um, I noticed one in the edge of the woods, just inside the woods. Uh, uh, while of course I didn't tell my buddy until after the fact, but um, so and couldn't tell you what exact color he was, but he was a dark color, either brown or black, one of the two. uh, but anyway, I think Jenny asked me if I could smell it on the one in Oklahoma. I was catching fish at the same time as looking at it too. That fish was biting. So my hand smelled fishy. So
Plus, they don't always smell either.
I can't say I smelled that foul odor or some of the fish smell. So no, and the one that I could reach out and touch on the Sabine River, he didn't smell. Of course, the wind was blowing it away from me, but still, as close as I was, I could have still got a whiff of. If he had, I would have got a whiff of it. So, so I hope that answered your question, Jenny. Um,
Don't you have
and then proceed on.
you had a sighting at your house?
Like I told everybody, I kind of quit my job, or I left my job there. Uh, yes, and see, this is December. And it was about this time, about 4 years ago. Uh, uh, maybe 4 years ago, and back behind the house here, trying to. I'm doing sign language, and I caught my headphones. And behind me, my wife pick up food at a pickup down a little back porch, drinking coffee, smoking, and so forth, and waiting on her to get home. I happen to notice up there, look up there, and towards the middle part, and next to a cedar tree, something rocking back and forth. It was rocking back and forth. From what I understand, that's usually what they do when they're curious and they're watching you. Is they're trying to move this way to see what you're doing, and and so when I noticed that, I looked around to see if the wind was blowing or how hard it was blowing, and there was hardly any wind. So, but if you seen the big gridlocks, it kind of resembled that. Uh, whether or not, I couldn't, I can't tell you that, but it was around your nine footish uh, height. From what I could tell, it it had more of your tall, lean. He wasn't as stocky as the one I saw by the river. He was
Okay.
slightly smaller, smaller built. Uh,
Now his hair.
so,
Do you think that was actually like braided, or was it a
so
dreadlock where it was
anyway,
just dirty,
and plus he
nasty?
had a long, the elongated top head. Uh, Again, I um, but I could tell it could be braided. I don't know because I could tell it was different because it because when he moved his head, you could see something long, uh, right with him. Uh, yeah, if ordered this because I to walk up there either that afternoon or the next find see if I can find footprints and stuff. Um, and I did find I found one footprint. Of course, this time of year, all the leaves are on the ground, and you had to
Yeah, it makes it
look
hard.
to see a footprint.
Yep.
And of course, I'm not into cat. I'm not into casting footprints. Uh, so naturally, I didn't have any casting material and stuff with me. But it was a 15 and 3/4 by about 4.5 inches wide, if I remember right. I have the picture of it somewhere. I think it's on my other computer. But but like I said, it was also a dark. I mean, I guess most of them are dark. It's very rare that you see a white, gray one. Basically, all the ones I've seen, either reddish, brown, black, or something, those colors. Haven't seen any uh, white ones or gray ones, multicolor ones. I've heard people they were
Right.
they had blonde hair and dark hair and that too.
I think it varies on the hair
So
color, but usually it's dark. So,
yeah, like I
again,
said,
how
most of the
about how
ones I
far
see are
away
dark.
was this in your backyard? And then, did it turn away from you and go back in the woods, or what happened after it was shaking and stuff? And did you see any did you hear
Actually,
anything?
well, I went back inside to get my binocular to see if I could get a closer look at it. Of course, at the same time, I grabbed my phone. Well, uh, when I got back out there, he wasn't as far out of the woods as he was when I saw him. He had either most likely receded back into the woods where I couldn't notice him. Uh, so I couldn't get a picture of him, uh, but I still have a tree to to measure and everything. Like I said, he was just over 9 foot, and like I said, and he was a pretty good sized guy. He wasn't like I said, he wasn't as stocky as the one I saw by the river. But
So, what do you think he was doing
different.
out there? And do you think he was? Did he spot you?
Well, like I said, I couldn't see any eye shine.
I think he was just traveling. He was on his way to, like I said, I only live about 3 or 4 miles from the. Of course, I have to go 10 miles to get to the lake, but if you go straight from
Right. You got
my
to go
yard
to the
straight
public
towards the
access.
lake,
Yeah.
yeah, you could be on part of the lake right away. Uh, and plus, I have that there's a lot of arms that comes off of it. That's on the Truman Lake end of the. And of course, keeping that in mind, on this end of the dam is Truman Lake, and when you cross, it turns into the Lake of the Ozarks. To
And
but to goes to
yeah, that's it looks like a big chunk of land for them to be in and travel from the Ozarks all the way down to Truman Lake.
and at the time I saw him, and like it is this year, uh, my brother-in-law just uh, uh, cut the corn with the combine. He just uh, got through cutting so I was able to see the woods from the ground level up.
Right.
Um, so, and like I said, I saw him. They could have been.
Did you hear me? Oh, you there, Steve? All right. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I just lost you for a second.
Hopefully we wait.
Oh man, yes.
Hopefully, hopefully in the last 15 more minutes.
Yeah, StreamYard, for whatever reason, tonight's not been good.
uh, well, I'm Wi-Fi. I need to buy
Yeah,
cables
so am
long
I.
enough that I can run it straight from the router over to where I'm at, where I sit. But uh, and
Right.
then
Well,
start
I
doing my
think.
show, doing my.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Doing your
Go ahead.
shows. Oh, I was just gonna say. You said your brother-in-law cut the corn down, so that's probably what the Sasquatch was doing. It was probably going to get some meal, eat some leftover corn and stuff, and probably was hanging out in the field when it was up. I think they do that a lot here.
Probably
The
was.
corn's up, and they probably hang out there, and plus they can catch all the animals that are eating the corn too. So I
Yeah,
think they utilize the cornfields pretty easily.
because because a lot of deer comes through there throughout the year. So,
Yeah, it's a good place to ambush
I mean,
deer and also eat the corn.
right. Coyotes, we have bobcats. There was one night my wife and I had sat out there and tried to figure out what was scaring the calves. Uh, and out there, and a bobcat let out a one of his screams, and of course, 2 inches the truck seat, and
I bet.
heck is
I'm sure it
that,
was very shocking.
but 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 since that time, I haven't really noticed. And going to a state park down south of us, which they have a lot of they have a lot of activity down, or they they've had down there. From what have gathered from the rest of the team members there once a year. Uh, and like I said, this is, I guess, down in the Ozark Forest somewhere. It starts getting into the Ozark Forest thicket and stuff down there. This is a state park where people come in from all over to fish and so forth. And there's a lot of not big mountains, but they're small mountains. I mean, so when you go on a trail,
it's a pretty rugged place.
You have, yeah, it's pretty rugged. And like I said, finding prints is really hard because it's clay, but I do have yeah, I got it on here. Where me and the guy I met on the trail together the rest of the trail until he was going fun, and then we split up. We ran, and this is the farthest I've gone on that trail. There's a rock, and it was dry at the time. A lot of and from what he told me, there was like in the side of the mountain, which was a cliff there that was running straight up. As he got past the point, I watched where he walked, but over in a different area, I was seeing footprints, large footprints, and I actually got to witness a left and then about 5 inches apart of each other.
So
50 inches apart.
So like 5 feet,
and
4 or 5 feet,
and apparently crossed the trail and was following the creek on down the hill, and
yeah,
and of course that was last April, and of course the October before that, I was down there and I got tree knocks, and then another one answered with 3 knocks. They were I could hear the knocks pretty good. Well, the ones to the left was pretty close, but I never did. I looked, but I couldn't see anything that. I guess he was hiding pretty good. I couldn't see him.
Oh yeah.
But
would you say within 200 yards?
Probably, or closer. Now the ones to my right was further up, because it drops up on the side of the trail. It goes down a steep hill. It was probably further down in the gully there, and I was answering the ones to the left. But I knocked since then. So, but down there, there's this March and April to I probably did last time because of course, smoking toll on you, and you can't. Makes it hard to walk 2 or 3, 4 miles.
Right. Well, I think if you seen that one in your backyard and you got farmland, I'm sure they're utilizing the land around them, and I'm sure you got them some right there. You know.
Yeah. They travel. That must be a travel route that they use. Either, like I said, if it was in my backyard in December, they probably staying around this area. Uh, then they move back down towards the
Oh
spring,
yeah, I'm sure they're
summertime. That
comfortable
would
around
be.
there.
I mean, that would be my guess. Uh, and but so that's the only thing I figured out. He was they was just traveling, uh, and they just stopped off
Yeah,
there for
could be. Well, I know the ones here in
uh,
Michigan.
it.
I don't think they travel too far, but they're in the areas where you wouldn't think Sasquatches would be. Just farmland with a chunk of woods in it. I think they migrate, if anything, just 4 or 5 miles, but they always come back around from over the years of researching here. But from your area's description, from the Ozarks all the way down to Truman Lake, and however far south the waterways go, I'm sure that there's a number of Sasquatches throughout that area. I mean, it's a big area, so it seems likely that you'd have a lot of a big population there.
Right. Uh, Not the first year I met the team, but the second year the first year we got flooded out. But the second year we met, they was we was there around and we found tracks beside the living room window where they was probably the window watching what they was doing inside, and we found uh, some of the typical things you find when a Bigfoot marks their area. I mean, we found a big log balanced in the middle in the fork of a tree, just not too far from where we found it. And then prior to me meeting the team a couple of years before, uh, they have had Bigfoots actually touch them when they hike on the trail. Probably juvies. They probably reach out there and touch them, and but I mean, you know, it's things like that. There is I'm sure he's taller than 10 foot now, but there is a what they named him Tall Boy, roaming around that area that's 10 foot or better. So
Yeah, it's pretty huge.
I haven't ran into him yet. So um,
I don't.
if I do,
I always joke
I
about I want to
hope
see
I'm
these
on
things,
his
but
good side.
seeing a 10 footer or more would be scary.
That's why I'm not really skeptical, but I run questions in my mind when people talk about 18 and 24 footers. It's that I'm not saying it's but it's kind of
Right.
hard to imagine something being that tall and
Yeah, you don't
tall
hear
up.
too many reports of Bigfoot being that tall. Uh, but if you look up like just giants from all around the world, there actually been reports of people being that tall and taller, actual human giants. They weren't hairy monsters or anything, but uh, there was one example was they go there's a famous scale of skeletons, and it goes all the way up to like 36 feet and stuff, and it's all supposed skeletons of giants all around the world. So, but usually you don't hear about 20-foot tall Bigfoots.
Right.
You never know what's out there. I think there's a few things out there roaming around, but if you were that big, you would. I don't know. You would
I
think
mean,
it'd be harder to hide and all that, but at night times everything's different. You could roam around undetected pretty easily, even if you are that big. So
right. Well, it's just like, back in what, 2015, 14, that giant stand, an army,
oh yeah, the giant
and
of
then
Kandahar, I think,
the
or
American, yeah, and then
yeah,
the
he was
American
a
troops when it,
redhead giant who. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and see that's not described as a
so
Bigfoot, but
there's,
that was a pretty huge guy.
I mean, so there, that proves that there are giants still roaming the earth.
Yeah, and they're usually described different from Sasquatch. They're not all hairy covered, and usually they're using spears or weapons, and sometimes they have armor on, like the old copper giants and bronze armor
Right.
giants that you hear about being discovered here in America and other places around the world.
It's fascinating to kind of, you know, when we run is to look at the side of the giants and kind of maybe Bigfoot might somewhere and get their size and so forth.
Right, right. Yeah, like I said, it seems like they're two different things. I've heard a few different theories and about the giants, the civilization here in America. The natives talk about them, red-haired giants and black-haired giants. They're not described as Bigfoot, but they had more of a civilization. And one theory is that it crumbled down and they became wild people, and that's where the Bigfoot come from. But there's a lot of holes in that. So
It's just like, in fact, there's, well, I don't think she's, uh, uh, you were, uh, uh, I think she
we
lives
got two
in
now.
Washington State. Oh, we got, I
Yep.
can't see whether there's two here, besides me and you. Uh, but I think a couple of years back, two ranchers up in Washington State spotted, they said, two 24-footers crossing their field. Had
No,
corn,
I don't think I'm.
and these, stood up, uh, uh corn. And like I said, heard yay or nay from that story was proven to be true, or if it was a made up story or what. I haven't heard either way, so I'm just going to say, I being that far north, uh, I'm sure y'all some giants that get seen every once in a while.
Yeah, I know. There's some Pacific islands where they got giants on them, and they're not described as Bigfoot, but they're massive and usually typically bigger than a Bigfoot range. They're more like 15 to, I guess, on up. But they eat
Right.
people, and they're supposed to be very dangerous, and you're not supposed to go on certain
Yeah.
parts of the island, or you'll never return.
Right. And people, and the ones we see down here are, I guess, I don't know if you call them friendly, but they're more shy than they are aggressive. Unless you run in ones and they aggressive on you. Um, but that's why I don't promote it, but you got to do what you got to do to protect yourself. If
Yep.
you feel safe carrying a pistol, do it. You know, I mean, if I know a lot of people say they don't carry it for Bigfoot reasons, but I'm sure you and I know there's people out. You know where I'm going with this. Some people
Oh yeah.
are actually out there wanting to shoot one, and
Yep.
so I from the quote Bigfoot type thing. Um, so I'd rather myself. I would rather communicate with a clan and be able to visit them. From a distance. Don't get me wrong, from a distance. Not close up. Be able to develop some type of trust factor there that
Right. Right.
we can learn from each other. I'm still I don't get out on a weekly basis like some people get to. So but I do get out when I can,
Well, that's all that matters,
when
really, is
I'm
just
able
getting out
to.
there when you can and enjoying yourself. You know.
But
And I think
right,
it's everyone's choice whether they want to be armed or not. I mean, there's a lot of dangers in the woods besides cryptids. So yeah, everyone should
right,
be feel safe when they're out in the woods, regardless of what they're doing. And uh, there are things that take people, obviously missing 401 stuff. But I think that's more than just like Bigfoot. And I do think there's some
right,
rogue ones or even some rogue clans that just kidnap people over the years, and they got away with it, and so every couple of years they just keep doing it because they have not faced consequences. While other Sasquatches,
right,
they show extreme patience and scare you out of the woods, right? But they don't hurt you. And I think that's because if they hurt someone, obviously they're going to be a lot of people looking around, and you know, at the first sight, someone's going to start shooting at this a creature like that. So I think they're pretty smart not wanting to cause the heat to be coming down on them. While other ones, they've gotten away with it, and maybe they think that they can still get away with it. That's just my opinion.
right. Kind of what I think too. You know, they they don't want to come in contact with us at all. So why would they want
No,
to attack us to bring more that they have to run away from, to scare off? So they want to and stay to themselves as much as possible.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know,
Well, it's been about an hour. I think we should probably shut her down for tonight. We're
sounds
definitely,
good to me. I said
I
about
definitely gonna have you
everything I
back
can
on.
say.
Well, I'll have you back on. I know we're gonna get some
Okay.
a group discussion going on, so we'll plan that out.
Okay.
All right.
Um.
Well, thank you again. Oh, go ahead. You want to
Okay.
plug into your Facebook groups and all that?
Okay. Uh. I have. Well, I have two basic groups. The one I started is the one at the bottom of my screen, Tales and Trails of Big Originate. Uh, uh, it used to be the round table. When I first started it, about probably 6, 7 years ago. Uh, and then I got hacked, and I had to start all over again. So but that group, and then Steve, dang, I hadn't been there.
It's like Steve's world of.
I can't
Yeah,
cryptids or
I don't get to that
something.
one
I
that
know.
often either.
I don't.
It's all good.
I'm not as active in that one is because I added a couple of admins and let them, because apparently my group is more is becoming more of a active group that I would stay around 300 or 400 at the max, and now we just went over 2,700. So I don't know where it's going.
Oh
They
yeah.
don't want to shut it down as long as there's good people. I don't want to shut it down, but
No, it's a great group. I'm on there a lot, and yeah, you got some great people in there. I think you do a great job running that and
yeah.
provide good information.
And then I got some people and I got some people that you know, uh, sort of you want Billy, but but to be honest, in my group and on my show, have fun, but at the same time be serious. But I don't go to the extreme of knocking people or bashing other researchers or anything like that. I let bash each other in those type groups, and I'm probably like you're going to probably do is concentrate more on the topic than any negative vibes that are going around the Bigfoot community. Uh,
Yeah, there's too much drama already. Might as well just focus on the topic and
I'm
try to, get the research going and evidence
yeah,
flowing and find the
yeah,
truth.
yeah. And now there's something to say about Bigfoot. Let's talk about Mothman or Dogman or something like that to
Yeah,
fill in
there's a
until
lot of
we get
sightings
some
of a
current,
lot of stuff out there.
so I concentrate on. I'm open to other cryptid, um, but like the title says, yeah, we're Bigfoot related. We try to keep it Bigfoot related if we can, you know. But in those two groups, Steve's world of
I think it's
cryptids
like
or
unknown.
creature, yeah, of unknown, yeah. I got that one. and then on my screen. And those two are the other one. I had one else that wanted to get away from the group, and he was having some personal problems or whatever at the time, and he needed. He was either going to shut, turn it over to somebody else, and at the time, I only like had 150 people group, and I said, and he had about 700 and some odd people. And I said, it wouldn't be fair to him to just close the group, and then all of a sudden he vanish, and then the group vanishes. So he fixed it where I could take it over and take it from there, and I could change the title to and and the rest is history. Usually I try to post stuff to each group as I find stuff, and of course I will include this group now since you have made me an ad
Yes, that's
to help
right.
you with your group. I will posting some uh, try to find some good stuff to post over here,
And I really appreciate that.
so and I will let your members know any questions or any problems may arise. Somebody bash you or says something wrong, or I be, or if you just got a question and you can't get a hold of Blake, you're more than welcome to with me. And I guess we better end this because
Yeah, pretty soon it'll be
I
2 hours in.
think
Oh, looks like you're cutting out a bit, but we're gonna shut it down right here, folks. So tune in this Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. It might change, but that's the plan. Eastern so far, 7 p.m. We're gonna have Phil Shaw from Michigan. He's gonna be talking about his experiences, and so tune in for that show this Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll uh, I'll post something to the group here, and so thanks again for everyone tuning in, and hope everyone enjoys the show when they watch it. Take it easy, guys.